about resolving this is that you know that the public understands that there is no distinction.
Well, we had a meeting a couple weeks ago in Washington. Coke called the meeting. They called Terry, a guy named Ed Potter, he's the director of global relations for Coca Cola. He's known Terry for years. And Ed called Terry and said, you know what? We think we can reach a settlement in this Coke case involving the malfeasance in Colombia. And the meeting didn't go well. Essentially, they offered us the same thing they offered us last year, which was, it was insulting. They said because these plaintiffs are Colombian, we have to give a discount. We have to discount the monetary value of their claim because they're Colombian opposed to American. So whereas this case, if they were Americans, would be worth tens of millions of dollars or $100 or million dollars or more, they said, okay, since they're Colombian, here's our offer. $1 million to be shared by everyone. So we decided after that meeting, because it went nowhere and because they really had nothing for us, we decided we have to escalate. And we're going to ratchet up the lawsuits. Wherever we see them committing violations, for example in Turkey, we also know the case in Guatemala, we're going to file those lawsuits. We're going to go after them. We're going to hold them responsible. If someone farts in another country, we're going to make them go and clean it up, you know.
I'm doing great. I'm just checking in at last minute to see if you're all clear on the argument in the Turkey case. What are you going to say when he asks you how come we filed this case here? That's the thing that's kind of driving us all nuts.
Well, I think what I'm going to say, or what I plan to say, is that in Turkey they could not get a fair hearing there. That the judicial system there is corrupt, particularly when it involves claims of unionists, because the government there is particularly hostile towards people trying to form unions, and that's why these guys were beaten up. So our position is that they don't have any other choice but to file here, where the corporate headquarters of these defendants ultimately are located.
So it was kind of funny because afterwards, you know, I felt like the Coke lawyers were kind of high-fiving, and they at least feigned that they felt they did well in there. But I actually thought the judge, you know, I think what he was basically saying, what you were saying, Ivan, that he, you know, he pointed out the weaknesses in our case, the form nonconvenience, that is, you know, whether the case should be in Turkey rather than here. Right. But I think if we firm that up for him, and I think we can do that, I think we have an in. I think we're okay.
Yeah, listen, you just have to protect the judge here. He's told you what his issues are. Once we can show him that this is a form, he knows he has the case. And then for Coke, it might not be as laughable as they think it is.
Well, the reality is that it's not our side of the table, but their side of the table that has an interest in prolonging a dispute. They get paid by the hour, and in one of these large law firms, the senior partner, he makes $800 to $1,000 an hour for working on a case. So if you presented to that person a very good idea for how to solve the problem quickly and save the company all the money and embarrassment, he will never say it, but in his mind he's thinking, well, that's no good. I'd like this case to last for 10 years because I'll make a lot of money. And they make upwards of $3–4 million a year just in salary. by continuing to represent the likes of a Coca Cola or a Chevron or a Drum and Coal and defending their despicable acts that they commit in their overseas operations.
Coca Cola.
Coke is innocent. Everybody seems to agree, except for the opponents of Coca Cola, that Coke is, by international standards, innocent. Therefore, long live Coca Cola, and long live the University of Chicago's right to drink Coca Cola. Thank you.
Well, it's a little, provocative, I guess, but the basic point is, there are people. The Killer Coke campaign is all concerned with the human rights of Colombians, and I just think like it's really the important thing is the free market, and the invisible hand is if that's what's gonna happen under the influence of capitalism, that's what's gonna happen under the influence of capitalism. Like, it's too bad, but really, if I like Coca Cola.
Okay, now listen, somebody once said that in slavery there's a job for everyone. Well, we don't need those type of jobs, do we? We also don't need jobs when people go to work and they stand up to protect their rights, that they don't know if they'll be alive to go home to their family. I'm going to talk about issues in here, and I hope when you find out what's going on with Coca Cola in Colombia and India and Mexico and elsewhere, that you'll support the movement to kick Coke off this campus. Thank you, and I hope you'll come in.
We want Coke!
See you in here!
We want Coke! We want Coke! We want Coke! Like you tonight!
Have you ever taken a class in economics?
Maybe I did. It was campus so long ago, but it might have put me to sleep. I understand economics.
So, we respond to incentives because we choose between Coke or Pepsi. Workers in Colombia, India, Mexico, they have a choice to work for Coke or not to work for Coke. And though you think that their jobs are shitty as hell, it's still better than the alternative.
Felix, if you have a question, ask it. Otherwise, sit down.
It's coming.
Look,
So, hold on.
I know where you're coming from.
So they respond to incentives, just like you respond to incentives. How do you make your money? How does Killer Coke make its money? You're a sham. It's a disgrace to have someone, one, who has never taken any econ course come here and lecture us. Thank you.
On this side. In April of this year, the ILO issued a report on their conclusions into the investigation of union killings in Colombia. They found that the union killings could be traced directly to the president's office. Given that that Coca-Cola cannot execute regime change in Colombia, and the ILO has fingered the president of Colombia for killing union activists in Colombia, what are we even doing here?
Oh, I think that's a great question. Actually, you made a good point for me here. What we've stated in our campaign is how the Colombian government and the secret police are working with corporations such as Chiquita Brands International that just paid a $25 million fine for working with the paramilitaries. And guess what? You know the CEO of Chiquita Brands, what company whose board they sit on? Coca Cola Enterprises, your local bottler. You made my point. This is what these workers are up against. It's a collusion between the government working with the paramilitaries and the big corporations to make sure there's no strong labor or human rights movement that can challenge their authority, that can challenge their profits, or can challenge their brutality.
Right now, we are transitioning. Coca-Cola representatives will, as soon as Ray Rogers exits, Coca-Cola representatives will enter, and we'll do the same exact thing with Coca-Cola.
So could I stay?
No, I'm sorry, you can't stay. Coca-Cola requested that they not be filmed because they didn't get the correct permissions, so we are honoring their request.